Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. I am Courtney. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I do food and kitchen content on YouTube. That means grocery hauls every Tuesday. These what's for dinner videos where I show you what I fed my family on Saturdays, and then on Sunday I have now added my personal journey on the Mediterranean diet, what I'm cooking for myself. So I hope to see you there. All right, let's dive into this week's recipes. We're going to kick it off with sloppy joes, because who does not love a sloppy joe? I'm going to make them from scratch, but keep in mind, you could always use the store-bought canned stuff, which is just as delicious. I'm going to use ground beef today, but if you are looking to make these even more budget-friendly, check out some ground turkey because it is far less expensive than ground beef. This just happens to be what I have and what I got because my guys requested it. I'm not eating this because, again, I'm doing the Mediterranean diet, but this is how they like it. But again, I've made it with ground turkey, and it is fabulous that way as well. So I'm going to start off by just cooking this ground beef. I'm using about 1.5 pounds because my guys will eat this for lunches as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this cooking. And once it's done that, you want to drain off most of the grease, but leave a little bit behind because we're going to saute some veggies in it. So I've got some minced up celery, bell peppers, and onions, and we're going to give those a good stir in there. Here is the thing I love about making this from scratch. I am really packing a lot of veggies. You can see that's a lot of veggies to the meat ratio. You don't get that in the canned stuff, but you get that here. This would also be a great place to throw in like some shredded zucchini. That would really kind of amp up the veggie amount in here as well. And it really just kind of takes on all the flavor, so nobody's going to notice that there's extra veggies in there. So we're going to go ahead and cook these to get them nice and soft. So I threw in some salt and pepper because salt really does help pull out the moisture and just kind of speed up the sauteing process on vegetables. I'm also going to add in some chili powder here. It just gives that great flavor that sloppy joes have. I'll link the original recipe down below, but I am kind of making a couple of changes just for me. I also threw in some garlic powder. You could do fresh garlic if you want to, but this is the kind of recipe where I feel like it is a-okay to do garlic powder and it doesn't make a bit of difference. It's going to be fine. So I did. We're going to let this just kind of saute for a couple of minutes. And then we want to add in some ketchup. I know it sounds weird, but ketchup for sure. It's got to be ketchup. Now, if you don't have ketchup on hand, you can always mix up a little bit of tomato paste, water, a little bit of brown sugar, garlic powder, and a dash of vinegar, and you will get a ketchup tasting product. You can throw that in, and that's fine as well. I've done that plenty of times when I need to sub some ketchup, but today I had some. I'm also throwing in a can of crushed tomatoes. You can do any kind of tomatoes you want. I like the crushed tomatoes just because they're saucy, but they have texture in them. And then I filled that up with half a can of water and threw it in here because I want all of this to simmer for a little while. And I want the flavors to just kind of meld together and get to know each other. And if you add a little bit of extra water, it keeps it from getting too thick and reducing too much. I also threw in a little bit of brown sugar for that signature sweetness that we always find in sloppy joes, and just let this kind of simmer and do its thing for about 10 minutes. To go with it, I'm going to make some air fryer okra. I think that okra is more of a southern thing, but it's so good. I just cut the tips off, slice it in half, and season it with garlic oil and salt. If you don't have garlic oil, just regular oil, garlic powder, and salt is perfect in the air fryer. This stuff is so good, and it's also a superfood packed full of veggies and nutrients. And in my opinion, this is even better than fries. So love it so, so much. And there's what it looks like. That's my son's plate. And this was definitely a favorite. All right, smothered burritos. If you watch my grocery haul, this was not on the meal plan. I was going to make some roasted chicken. I bought a chicken on that grocery haul that you guys saw on Tuesday. I opened it and it was bad. It just had a smell that was not good. So I had to change gears really quickly that morning. And I just went with this because I had the stuff in my freezer. This is such an easy meal. Keep it in mind for any kind of weeknight throw together meal. I'm using frozen chimichangas that you can buy at any grocery store, but you could always just throw some beans on a tortilla and roll it up and do the same thing. These are beef and bean. They come in a bunch of different flavors. Just get what your family likes or make what your family likes. This is what makes it easy, though, is that they're frozen, so I don't have to do anything. I thawed them in the microwave. They're not hot, but they're thawed. I'm going to top them with some sauce. Today I've chosen taco sauce because I think it pairs really well with them. But in the past, I've done both red and green enchilada sauce, and that is also just as delicious. Top them with some cheese, put them back in the microwave just to heat them the rest of the way through and melt the cheese, and you've basically got cheater enchiladas. This is such an easy meal. I do it one plate at a time, but they also bake up beautifully in a casserole, which I've done in the past. Back when I was younger and used to work, I would make the casserole so we could eat it for like 2 or 3 nights and just put the whole bag of burritos in there and top them and bake them. So good. All right, this last meal is the pork chop rice casserole, and I love this one. I'm starting off with a casserole dish that I sprayed with some nonstick spray, and I put in some rice. We're actually making stick of butter rice, which I'll link below, but we are not putting a stick of butter in it. So to my rice, I'm going to add in this can of French onion soup. And then the recipe also calls for a can of beef consomme or beef broth, which of course I don't have, but I have beef bouillon. So I filled my can back up with water, and then I will add some beef bouillon in here. Just give that a stir. It works great, and I always have it on hand. If you don't have a can of French onion soup, just get 10 ounces of water, and you can make French onion soup mix at home. I do have a recipe link below for like my dry mixes that I make and keep in my pantry, and that would work just as well. All right, I decided to throw in some of my dehydrated mushrooms. I keep these on hand for making homemade cream of mushroom soup. They're just mushrooms that I threw in my dehydrator, but I thought this would be the perfect dish for them. So I went ahead and tossed them in here, and we just want to give everything a nice stir so that the soup and the rice and everything are all incorporated together. And this would be the point where the recipe tells you to add a stick of butter. I think that is just way too much butter, and I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just going to add a few pads of butter to the top, not even half a stick of butter. You need a little bit of the butter and the fat from the butter into this rice just to kind of keep it nice and fluffy. But I just don't feel like you need the whole stick. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But butter's expensive. It really, really is. And I don't want to put that much butter in here. And I don't think my family needs to eat that much butter with their rice. So I am just not doing that. At this point, if you just wanted to make this as a side dish, you'd top it with foil and bake it. But we're going to top it with these pork chops. As you can see, I got them on clearance for $2.35. It's 4 pork chops that came pre-seasoned with Montreal steak seasoning. But you could do beef, chicken, pork, and season it however you want. Totally up to you. And once I put those right on top, just kind of nestled down in there, I'm going to cover this tightly with some foil and bake it covered for 30 minutes and then bake it uncovered for a final 30 minutes. And just kind of give it a little fluff with a fork and you're good to go. I served it with some air fryer broccoli on the side. This was an amazing meal. I hope you guys enjoyed the meals this week. They're all linked or listed down below so you can try them at home yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will have my Mediterranean video up tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Bye, guys.